No Americans died in last night's action. Think of that. No Americans died in that last night's action. Repeat that to yourself over and over and let it sink in. This is what Joe Biden had to say about the illegal incursion into Syrian territory and the unlikely fairy tale that everything went as planned, if it happened at all. No Americans died in last night's action. Because the murder of women and children really doesn't matter as long as they're not Americans. Just think of how sick a society has to be to produce that level of disgusting lack of compassion for a racist, bigoted ideology that no one's lives count but ours. And of course, it's also not the full truth. Being American doesn't give you any special protection either. Don't kid yourself, right? A U.S. passport didn't help the teenager that Barack Obama blew away with a drone with no charges, no due process. He was an American. Boom. Incinerated with a Hellfire missile. The ones he said he was going to send against his daughter's boyfriends. Right? Ha ha. That was a funny joke. And being American doesn't protect black boys and black girls on the streets of America from being shot down by wayward cops, the so-called bad apples, right? Doing nothing, breathing while black, and we have to worry in our communities that our sons are on the wrong side of the street, in the wrong neighborhood. Why are they late? Did they come home? They're American. But no. This is the pretext for what people have called the Vietnam syndrome. Right? As long as Americans don't die, it's decent. And since Vietnam, we've mastered the art of invading and bombing other people without getting too many of our own boys killed. Of course, that's up for debate. I think George Carlin was closer to correct when he said the real Vietnam syndrome is we left a few women and children alive in Vietnam and we haven't felt good about ourselves since. That is a truer picture of what empire does. And first, all presidents do this. It's not a partisan thing. Never has been. Never will be. Trump had Tillerson and Bolton and all those horrific, awful men. Obama droned his way to all sorts of notoriety. And it isn't even about the men. That's not the point. The point is the system. The system isn't broken. It's doing what it's designed to do. All of these wars are not meant to end. They're meant to be forever. And they're not meant to be won. They're just meant to be forever. And each president will do his master's bidding and fund the war machine and prosecute the wars that keep those engines humming. There was a brief respite under Trump, which, by the way, no one will acknowledge, right? The fact that now we're going back into this insane war posture. And it wasn't it wasn't much good to say about it. He's still a billionaire, still an oligarch. He still believed in the American exceptionalism crap. He just thought it was a waste of money, and he didn't want to be told what to do. Now, the fact that the so-called left can push back on this is quite alarming. That there is no peace movement. There's no anti-war movement while we're on the brink of provoking World War III on Russia's borders. No one will say war is bad. Imagine that. War is bad. You can't get anyone to say that and have it be a mass movement. And this is Trump's legacy. This is like what my friend Don DeBar aptly said, is the closest thing that this sick system can produce to a popular opposition. Ain't that a bitch? That's the best we can do. Let that sink in. But here we are on the verge of more wars, and the world is not taking it. It's not going as well as it has gone in the past, as well as it's supposed to go. We have now in Mali and Burkina Faso, people are standing up and saying, wait a minute, we don't want you in here killing the terrorists. You are the terrorists. You can't solve the problem. You are the problem. Russia seems to have done a good job in Syria helping to contain this threat. Why don't we get them over here and help them out? No, that's outrageous and crazy, and but people see what they see. That's a comparison. The U.S. starts wars, other people help to end them. And then China, you're not an American unless you bash China, but look at that comparison. China comes in and builds bridges, builds up the infrastructure that's destroyed by the U.S. in Laos and everywhere around the globe. This is the most propagandized population probably in the history of history, Americans. They are stuck in this bubble, not forced, but conditioned to watch the so-called, nightly news of the same 3 or 4 stories just repeated over and over and over again, plus sports and weather. It is an incredible feat, like we're guinea pigs in this enormous PSYOP experiment to see how far a population can be pushed to believe things that are against our own interests. And I think it's going pretty well. But the rest of the world is not happy, and they're seeing it for what it is. You watch the Olympics, you watch them try to poke holes in China's success. Watch the buildup of NATO around Russia with missiles in Romania, Poland, and Ukraine now, troops everywhere. This is a defensive posture? Nobody believes that. It's ridiculous. And if you think that this is legitimate, if you buy into the farce that the U.S. is fighting for democracy, and you exult in the new reality that the CIA is right, that the FBI is right, that your olders and betters and smarters in power are the people who should be running things, and that's why you should listen to them. Because you don't know, they're experts, they know. If you buy into all this in the face of proof that we see, then there's no hope for you. then you have no soul.